Is your father helping us with this renovation?
It's our house. He is sick.
Yeah, and he needs specialized long-term health care from professionals, full-time.
Right, and he is my father. I'm taking care of him, and I'm not parking him with strangers.
You think a major bathroom remodel is going to make him love you?
Jesus Christ.
It's taking out a closet and adding a door.
It's not that easy.
Yeah, actually it is.
We need an architect.
No, we can just get a contractor. I can draw it out myself.
You have no idea what you're talking about. None.
Welcome back to the Guy Boudreaux Radio Show. This is Anything and Everything. I have Clare Carey on the line, an actress that resides, a well-known actress that resides in Los Angeles, California. And as it turns out, Clare was one of the lead characters in a very popular sitcom in the early 90s by the name of Coach. So without further ado, I'm going to bring Clare into the studio. Clare, good evening. How are you doing?
Hi there. Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. I've been wanting to get you on this show for quite some time. So just
yeah, well, you know, I'm very busy, so.
Well, now.
You know.
Well, speaking of busy,
I'm squeezing you in between, you know, meetings with the president and, you know, studio networks.
I like that. So. I like that. I like that. The next time you talk to Barack, I tell him I would like to have him on the show.
Okay, I'll tell him.
Now, where's right now as we speak? You're on location somewhere in North Carolina doing a feature film, correct?
Yeah, it's actually it's being made for the Up Network. The gospel music channel GMC is being rebranded, and it's being called the Up Network. And the idea being that it's an uplifting programming philosophy. So this is a little movie about some teachers and some students and parents who rally to save their school, their high school, which is closing. So it's a really it's a small movie, but it's a really sweet movie, and it's important because I think public education is under attack. So I was happy to come out here and play a teacher in this cool movie.
Very nice, very nice. Well, tell me, let's back up a little bit and talk about who you were prior to getting that big role on Coach. I mean, walk me through that process of struggling as an actress or not struggling as an actress and finally getting the big call, you know, saying, yo, we want you on the show.
Well, I don't think you ever really stopped struggling. I actually just had lunch with one of my co-stars on this movie here, the fabulous Miss Loretta Devine, who, if you look her up, has done a tremendous amount of work, a huge body of work, has won awards, and is just an incredible performer. And it's not even an easy street for her. So I think the thing is, there may be an illusion that just because you've been on a top 10 sitcom that you've made it or something, but that's not how it really feels. You know, I think perhaps there's that literally about 5 people who might say, yeah, I've really made it and I have nothing to worry about anymore. You know, people like Meryl Streep or Tom Hanks, you know, like the really, 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 really big stars. But I think most of us, even working actors, we always feel like you always have to do whatever it takes to get to the next step. But to get back to your question,
Thank you.
I'll go back in time. I said it's out there. If you go back in time, back to the late 80s, it's a great story because I was kind of a obnoxious kid who really didn't realize what was happening. And I went and I sat down in front of the casting director's desk, the fabulous Megan Brandon. I want to give a shout out to because she's still a great casting director out there. And I said to her, Megan, I'm too tired to do this. And you know, she should have thrown me out of her office right then and there, but she didn't. And what she did say was, shut up, you're perfect for this, and read. And so I did, and then she called me back, and then I tested for it, and I got the part. And then I worked really hard after that, and I wasn't quite so lazy or horrible. But I think that an actor needs to just show up and then show up and show up and show up and show up and keep doing it again and again and again. And whether you get a gig when you're 19 or 29 or, you know, 59 for some people, if you are doing your best, you've prepared, you've worked really hard to do your work and you come in with yourself totally impeccable, then there's a chance that you might get noticed. There's also a chance that you won't, because maybe it's someone else's turn that day. You don't really know. The one thing that we can do as actors is do our very best. So at least I know when I go to bed at night, it wasn't my fault. It wasn't me. I did my best, and it wasn't my job, then, it wasn't my job. Move on.
So when did you get the...
Is that more than you needed, Guy?
No, absolutely not. When did you get the acting bug?
Oh, I was little. I was in a Montessori school, and it was a kind of an alternative school in the sense that we could work on sort of independent projects. And so there was a opportunity when I think I was always 6 years old to do a play at my school. It was called The Genie and the Magic Orb. And I said, I want to be in that, sure. And then so I got to play the genie. And that was pretty much it, actually. And after that, I asked my mom if I could do some theater. And so I was in some shows at the Peanut Gallery Productions up in Santa Barbara, California. And I did some other stuff here and there, school stuff and community stuff. And then when I was about 14, I had a teacher, as a matter of fact, talking about teachers again, Miss Catherine Ford, who helped me get my agent and helped me get my headshots and kind of got me started in the business. So I definitely had some help. I mean, you need help, but I had no clue. I had zero clue what to do. But when I was about 14 is when I got my agent, and then I started going on auditions for commercials and TV pilots and stuff like that. And I got my first job, I think, when I was like 16. I think that's when I got my SAG card, I believe. Can't remember exactly now. It's been so long.
And Coach, walk me through getting that role. I mean, actually being on the set with what was the gentleman's name? The lead actor in that.
Greg T. Nelson.
Yes, Mr. Spokane,
Greg T. Nelson.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, the rest of the cast was so great. Shelley Fabre, Jared Dyke, Bill Farbaki, Ken Timmons, Pam Stone. There's so many great actors on that show. I was very lucky to get to work with some really, really talented people. But basically, the pilot episode was kind of all about the daughter, Kelly Fox, coming to go to school where her dad coached football, and basically just saying, hey, I want to be in your life. So the story was really very, very sweet, and I really could relate to it. It was like the girl who really wanted to be around her dad, and I happen to really love my dad a lot and could really relate to that. And so I think, they thought that I was really actually from the Midwest. Kelly was supposed to be a girl from Ohio, and my parents are both from Joliet, Illinois. I think I was raised with kind of a Midwestern sensibility. So even though I'm a California girl, through and through, they sort of saw me as Midwestern. And I think I just, like Megan said, I was right for the part because she was very sensitive and very artistic and loved to dance and sort of had some insecurity issues. It really was.
So how many episodes? I mean, how many seasons did that particular show run?
I was on it for 7 seasons, and then the show continued on for another 3 after that, actually.
Oh wow!
So it had a good long run.
So what are the as an actress, what are the psychological effects when you go for 7 years on a show like that, and maybe the phone rings, maybe it doesn't ring, but what type of a psychological bender does that turn out to be? How stressful is that to have a gap between getting your next big gig like a Coach?
I'm not really sure what you're asking.
Well, the stress because since then you've worked on some big stuff. You've worked on Crash, you've worked on as a lead, and you've worked on Jericho as a lead. And for the actors and actresses out there that want to continue after, because not every actress is as fortunate as you as far as finding work and going to the next gig. So what would you say to the individual that where their world just stops after that 4th season? I mean, I think you touched on it earlier in regards to being very, repetitive with going in front of casting agents, et cetera. But what could you maybe add to that to continue people to move forward and achieve what they need to achieve?
Oh, man. I don't know. Really, honestly, everyone's going to go on their own journey. There will always be time when even the most incredibly talented actors are out of work. It's just kind of how it goes. There are times when you're crazy busy. There's times when you look around and wonder how that other person got a job. They don't seem so special to you, I mean, if you think about it too much, it drives you crazy. I think really the best advice that I have is to stay focused on the things in your life that keep you healthy and positive, and they may be things that have nothing to do with the entertainment industry. It may be a hobby, it may be being of service, it may be your own family, it may be, whatever it is, another outlet. Maybe you're into music, maybe you're into writing, I don't know. But you kind of have to create a life for yourself that exists outside of whether or not you're going to get that next job. Because you may not get that next job. You actually may be the most amazing actor on the world, but you still aren't going to get that next job for whatever reason. The girl is, someone's girlfriend, someone's wife, reminds them of their whatever. You cannot control it. So you have to be strong, resilient, resourceful. I think you have to kind of basically be a spiritual warrior and take every rejection as an opportunity to be stronger and learn how to not take things personally, which is a big one for me. That one's really tough. Still working on that one. And, roll with it. Have a sense of humor. Because if you get all sour grapes and if you get anxiety and if you get freaked out about why you're not working, it's going to show. You go in for your next audition and there's like a desperation. It's like a smell. They can smell it when you really need it. And they don't want to have anything to do with you. They want the guy or the girl who's like, hey, I can take this or leave this. I have a life. Whatever.
Interesting.
I'm busy.
Interesting.
I'll tell you what, I never worked more than when my kids were small because I was busy with my kids. I was totally, still breastfeeding, deeply busy raising my little children. And that was when I had the most work.
Interesting. Wow.
Because I'd walk into the room and be like, I got someone's counting on me. I got to go be somewhere. You can have 5 minutes of my time, people, and then I got to go. And they'd be like, wait, come back.
Wow. So what was your formal?
Maybe I should have another baby. That would be a good idea.
Better talk to Seth. Hey,
Kidding.
What was your formal education regarding acting?
I had quite a lot of training. I did not have a quote formal one in the sense of like I didn't go to a university, but I took many classes as a young person in terms of like theater workshops and that kind of thing. I took a lot of dance classes and singing classes. And then when I got to LA, I enrolled in a few different private studios, and there are many, many acting teachers in LA. So I went through a couple of quacks before I found a really great one, and the great one who I still study with when I can. His name is Carey, Maestro George, and he helps me to stay focused and get out of my head and stop telling myself all the things I tell myself. So there's all that, and then I also did a lot of like technical training, like voice training with a great guy named David Farkas, and learning how to actually use your instruments. I didn't know that you could put your voice in your throat or your chest or your head if you want to, or like all these great things you can do with your voice. I also did some Shakespeare training. I went and had a really great summer in London and trained at the Royal Academy. So, I just was sort of someone, because I didn't go to college, I always felt like I just needed to get out there and learn more. So I kind of put myself through these little, I call them private conservatories. I just went to classes, you know.
Yeah, it's always interesting. It's always interesting to find out that a well-known actor or actress never did not have any formal training at all, and now they're an A-lister. That always fascinates me.
Well, yeah, I mean, I find it a little odd that that if people didn't go to any classes at all, because there's a lot of bad habits that you can get into, and there's a lot of things that as a beginner you wouldn't know. Now, at the same time, there's a lot of people who've gone to classes and the teachers have poisoned their minds and given them really bad habits. And sometimes just a pure instinct is just going to be the most interesting to watch because it's not laden with a whole bunch of, dogma about sense memory or Meisner, like all these like techniques that are, in my mind, really kind of great exercises, great things for young actors to try in a workshop environment. Randomly here and there, you might use something like that. But really, as a professional, I can say that after 30 years, what you do is you learn the story, you imagine the circumstances until they become real to you, you learn your dialogue, and then you show up on the set. And on the set, nobody's talking about acting techniques. If you are, you look like a jerk. You show up, and if you talk about anything with the other actors, you're talking about the story. You're talking about the relationships between these characters. You're not talking about acting methods. Like it's embarrassing if anybody does. So, really, I think everyone has kind of, whatever way to get there, but I think that the real pros, they're just focused on the story.
Right.
That's it.
Right. So what would you say to the what would you say to the individual that is, there are a lot of different individuals out there in Hollywood land, for lack of a better way of putting it, that can promise the world, if you pay this and you pay that, you get your headshots, you get this, you get that, and nothing happens. What's the down and dirty secret of just getting it done and making more right turns than wrong turns in terms of getting to where you eventually want to be?
Well, I mean, it's crazy, and it's even more crazy now than when I was starting. On the other hand, you also now have a few more tools. So, for example, you should probably pay a headshot photographer to take a great picture of you, unless you have a friend who takes great pictures. That's something that is a legitimate expense, because that's a person who's a professional. He or she has equipment, and you're going to pay them for the time and their expertise of taking a good picture. That is, you need a great picture no matter what. But what you should never do is pay for these things that they do. There's sort of these workshops where they say they're going to have casting people come to the workshop. They're called pay to play workshops. I don't know. I've personally never heard of anybody getting a job out of those things. I just, I don't know. Okay. Maybe it can happen. It's a big world, but I think that those are the types of people who are generally kind of preying on people.
Right.
I for the most part, a proper rep, an actual, real, professional agent should never have you put money up front. Never, never, never. The idea is that they take you on spec because they see that you have something that they can sell. And if they sell you right and you go in and you deliver and you book that job, then you both get paid. And that's a fair agreement. If you sent me in on that audition, I'm going to give you a cut of my pay because you made it happen. And that's how professionals do it.
Right.
But anyone that asks you for the money up front is a scam artist, and you should run away from them quickly. The other thing that's really exciting for people nowadays is you can create a web presence. It's not too tricky to create your own web page, of course. You can do it on, Facebook and all that, or you can also actually have your own website. Not too tricky. And then, because of digital technology, you could make your little movies. I don't know, maybe you have some friends. You're all kind of creative. You come up with an idea. You film it on your iPhone. You post it on your website. Like, these are things that didn't exist when I was coming up. When I was coming up, if you wanted to make a film, you had to get someone with a film camera. And you had to get someone to develop that film and then transfer it. And then who's going to edit it? Oh, my God. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much more possibility for people to be proactive.
I agree. So tell me.
So that's what's exciting, I think, for kids.
So now tell me a little bit about your family life. You don't have to get too dialed into it, but how tough was it raising children, small children, and, you know, getting out there and still, you know, going after that work? You touched on it a little bit, but maybe you can touch on it a little bit more, because ultimately it's hard enough trying to go out there and grab work without having children. So how did you juggle all that?
Well, I don't really know how I did it, except that I just would usually I had a friend who did not have a regular job. So I would sometimes, like if I was working, I would pay her.
Let's talk about past projects. Tell me.
Okay.
Yeah, what have you done, and what does the future hold, and all that kind of good stuff?
What have I done? Oh God, what have I done? Sheesh. Well, you know, I tend to do a lot of TV work, although this director I'm working with right now, Carey is he does a lot of independents. I did a really cool independent with him called The Trial, starring Matthew Modine. That was a few years ago. That was a cool little job. You know, honestly, here's the thing. I do whatever's in front of me. You know, I get sent an opportunity and I try to take it. So, whether it's a guest star or a series regular or an independent film or a big studio film or play, you know, I want to do it. Like I want to go. I want to go to the party. I want to play pretend. I want to do this. It doesn't really matter, you know, where the party is. I want to go. So,
but you were in films weren't you in Home Alone 4 or Home Alone 3?
Home Alone 4, baby. 4.
Tell me about
the
4.
one with, well, it's a video movie starring, Jason Bigay and French Stewart and the fabulous Missy Pyle, among others. There's a few other fabulous actors in that. And actually, funnily enough, we filmed that in South Africa, even though it was supposed to be Chicago.
Oh, wow! I didn't know that.
Yeah, you know, one of the biggest perks of the job is to travel. So I've gotten to go all around the world, you know, Africa, I've gone to New Zealand, I've gone up to Canada, you know, all over the United States. Like it's really by far one of the most fun things about it is somebody pays you to go to a place you've never been and you meet new people and stuff like that. So that was one of those projects that I just was like, you know, sure, okay. Do I think this is going to win any awards? Probably not. But is it a really sweet family movie that I can watch with my kids? Yes. You know, so we try to show up with our full integrity and full value, full self, no matter what the job is.
So do you prefer full feature film or do you prefer TV? Which one really, draws that passion out of you?
Well, you know, honestly, I think it's just like I said. It's like I just want to go to the party. The advantage of film is usually, unless it's a small budget, if it's a big budget film, you do a lot slower pace. You know, in an episodic television, generally, you're doing somewhere around 8 or 9 pages a day. So, though there's time to rehearse the scene right in the set. That's the first time you've rehearsed it. You know, you show up to the set and you're in costume and you're ready to go, and you rehearse right then and there, and then you block it, and then they figure out how they're going to shoot it. Whereas perhaps on a feature, you might have had a couple weeks to really actually rehearse and, you know, be in a discovery mode. I think the reason why films are, you know, generally sort of like always everyone's number one pick are because you just have a little luxury of a little time. And that's not only in the production of it, but it's also in the playing of a scene. I was in Italian miniseries, which was actually a really fun project called Doc West. And my favorite one, I loved a lot of things about it. Working with Italians was great fun. But one of the great things was that the director would always say to me, "Take your time." He'd say it like that. He was very passionate Italian. "Take your time." And usually in TV, that's the last thing you hear. You hear, "Pace it up. Pace it up." You know, like people when they talk to each other, you don't think about how fast you're talking. I mean, maybe if someone's coming to kill you or the hurricane is coming or, you know, maybe there's emergency. But in life, we're going to have the conversation we're going to have at the pace we're having it because it's right for the moment. So, you know, that's something that's sometimes a little artificial about TV, like pace it up. But saying that, I mean, I've gotten to work on House. I've got to work on Without a Trace. I've got to work on ER. I've got to work on like a few David Kelly shows, Harry's Law, and Boston Legal, and, you know, I mean, some really, really great TV. So I'm grateful for every one of those jobs. I mean, I got called to play a child molester on Private Practice. And as an artist, that's a huge challenge. Obviously, it's a horrible thing in real life. But as the artist, I took on the challenge because I was like, wow, what would it be like walking in those shoes? You know?
Wow.
And I got to do that on television. So it's kind of just really, I think most artists you're going to talk to are going to say this. They just want to play. They want to come and play pretend and put on a costume and, you know, live someone else's life for a little while. And this is what we do. So anytime I get a chance to do it, I'm thrilled.
You know what I think is very interesting in regards to a lot of actors and actresses out there is the transition they make from actor to producer. And, you know, ultimately, the more you know about the producing side, and at least the way that my thought process works is that the more you will know on the acting side, because it's always nice to know where the machine is going, ultimately. What can you say to that in terms of, you know, the percentage of actors nowadays that are turning to the producing side of things, or maybe doing both? And what is that percentage nowadays?
Well, I have not done the research on those numbers, guys.
You haven't?
I don't know.
Well,
I haven't.
just happen to have
didn't know
a
you
little
were going to ask me that question. You sprung that one on me. Crap, where's my notes? No, you know, I don't know about other people, but when I'm actually working as an actor, personally, I prefer to stay in the innocent state of mind. So I don't want to be thinking about the production while I'm acting. I would, you know, personally, I would not want to be a producer, director, actor all on the same project. That being said, I have directed and produced things, and I love doing it. And my experience of being on sets for 30 years, obviously, has completely informed that. So, you know, I'm in the middle of producing a few different projects right now, and I produce all my short films that I've directed. I know what it takes. You know, I know how to put the crew together. I know what kind of a crew works best together. I know what you don't really need and what you do really need, and all that's just from being on sets for the last 30 years, you know?
Right.
But I do think that personally, the director should be thinking, and the actor should not really be thinking. Like, he should be being. You know, that's gross oversimplification because, of course, you don't want to know thinking. But, I mean, the classic actor thing is that they're thinking too much, and I was one of those actors, thinking too much, examining the script too much and asking this question, and maybe it should be this, and can I change that line, and thinking about the production, what about that day, and really all that is just a distraction. You know, really the best, most fulfilling times I've had as an actor is when I threw all that stuff out the window and I came to it as an innocent, as a fresh perspective. I'm playing this wonderful game called pretend, and right now I'm pretending to be a teacher, a history teacher in a high school in Charlotte, North Carolina. You know, that's what I'm pretending to be right now, and that's all I'm thinking about. I'm not thinking about how they're going to market it. I'm not thinking about, you know, what her part is and what they're getting paid and what the production might cost. You know, not right now. But when I'm producing, you bet I'm thinking about all that stuff.
Okay, now you've also worked with some very well-known actresses in the past, before they were well-known. Share that a little bit, and then we'll wrap it up.
I'm trying to think who you're talking about.
I think you worked with Charlie. What's her name?
Oh, Charlize?
Charlize.
I did not work with her. No, we were friends.
Okay.
And we hung out socially. We were part of the same group of kids that, went out to clubs and restaurants in the early to mid-90s. And I will say that she was always a star from the get-go. She was just a standout and a really lovely human. So it never surprised me that she was so successful. Because she lights up a room, and she's just incredible. And then she backs it up with her talent and her hard work.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, I've definitely had the opportunity to meet a lot of people who became very famous, or even really befriend people who became successful. And the one thing that they always had in common was a tremendous confidence. Always. Because the sound in this business can shake your confidence. And it's kind of probably been the crux of my own spiritual journey, is finding the confidence in myself no matter what the external circumstance may be. Either I have a job or I don't have a job, it ultimately should not affect my confidence. And that's where I want to be. But a lot of these people, like, say Liev Schreiber, for example, he's an old friend. That guy always had tremendous confidence. Like, from the get, no one ever had to tell him he was great. He knew it. You know what I mean? Yeah,
and I know in Hollywood it can be. I agree with you, because I've got friends that are actors and actresses as well, and I can see it. I can see it in their aura and in their energy that certain parts of their core has been shaken by indifferent experiences. And I agree with everything that you're saying. It's you have to believe in yourself, and you have to look at yourself the way other people look at you. Because ultimately it's those people that are looking at you that are going to give you that shot. And when you get that shot, are you ready? And obviously with a woman of your experience, you're always going to be ready when that opportunity knocks.
Right. Well, now I can say that 100%. I mean, call me from there, and I will deliver. I will show up and give you my all. But the confidence thing is, some people just have it, and it doesn't get shaken, or maybe if it does, they can get through it quickly. Because, the thing is, and I think this is true in life, in every business, is you invent yourself. Like, I walk in the room, and if I don't know any of you, I can invent a persona and a way to be, and you're going to think that that's who I am if you've never met me before, right? So that's essentially what an audition is. I'm coming in, and I'm not only showing you my work, but I'm giving you an energy and a persona. So if I want you to think that I think I'm the shit, I am just a bomb, well, I better really believe that. I better really believe it. Walk in that room with that energy. But if I walk in the room for I can't even believe I'm here. Oh my God, I'm so nervous. What if I don't do well? They know it. That's not what they're looking for.
Well, the good news is that the short time you and I have been friends, I know that you're just getting started. And I respect your work, and I've always respected your work, always. And
thank you.
So I want to thank you, Claire, for showing up at the Guy Boudreaux Show. And
I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for asking me.
And I hope we can have another opportunity to get you back on this show here in the near future when you're grabbing that Oscar or that Academy Award.
There you go. Did you hear that, universe? All right.
Okay. All right,
thanks.
darling.
Bye.
Thank you, darling. Once again, I'd like to thank Clare Carey for stopping by the Guy Boudreaux Radio Show. I'm Guy Boudreaux. This is Anything and Everything. Please stop by our Facebook page, give us a like, send us a tweet to the Guy Boudreaux Radio Show. And I'm going to leave you with the soulful sounds of Mr. Orlando Napier, who about 9 months ago signed with a very large independent music label by the name of Spectre Records. Mr. Orlando Napier is from Los Angeles, California, and he was formerly on The Voice, if you didn't know that. and he will be doing a worldwide album release. So this song here, Release It, will be on that album. So please check iTunes here in the next, I believe, week or so. Again, I'm Guy Boudreaux. This is Anything and Everything. Have a blessed week. We hope you tune in next week.
You were feeling okay. All the things I had to say, they was weighing heavily. I'm in a strange place. No, I can't shake these blues. Oh, God, now I swear I'm standing up with you. 'Cause we're tripping all the time. 'Cause we only have so much. Letting it slip by, while we're waiting for the bug. All the love and the pain that's been flowing through my veins. I write down, baby, and release it when I say. I release it when I say. I release it when I say. I release it when I say. Release it when I say. If I hadn't been so blessed, then I probably wouldn't stress. They say ignorance is bliss, but maybe that's why I'm a mess. Things don't reach me like they did. I don't look forward to shit. Oh no, 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 baby. Not like when I was a kid. 'Cause we're tripping on the time. 'Cause we only have so much. And we're letting it slip by. While we're waiting for the bug. All the love and the pain that's been flowing through my veins, babe. I write it down, baby, and release it when I say. So I release it when I say. He said when I say, I release it when I say, I release it when I say. All that I live, oh I wanna live, oh I wanna do the things I never did. And the more I wanna learn, the more I wanna give, baby. Same thing, yeah. All the things I never said. Oh, yeah. There's a chicken on the time. 'Cause we only have so much. And we're letting it slip by. While we're waiting for the bug. We haven't 5 years long since I was living back at home. Just sitting back in my room, yeah. Just sitting back and writing songs. And all the love and pain that's still flowing through my veins, babe. I write them down on paper. See, I'm releasing when I sing. See, I release it when I sing. See, I release it when I sing. See, I release it when I sing. Release it when I sing, yeah. I release it when I sing. And I release it when I sing, yes. So I release it when I sing. I release it when I sing.